Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining everybody for another Tuesday discussion. Here on Tuesdays, we like to respond to questions or comments that we're getting either on YouTube, Instagram, or from our wonderful Patreon community. Thank you all for your support. Now, today's discussion is going to center around essentially brands and bottles that are timeless. And when I say they're timeless, that means regardless if you're a new whiskey drinker or if you've been into whiskey for a very long time, I think you get excited to open up these bottles and to try them again. So, what I want you to do too, if you're a new drinker or if you are a veteran whiskey drinker, come back in the comments and let us know what you think about this list and what other brands you would include. So, thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. I am going to be sipping on one of the bottles on this list as we go through it. Excited to talk about this one. It has been far too long since I drank this. When I tell you the year and you see how much is left in this bottle, I don't know why I've been ignoring it for so long. Sometimes I baby things. But what we're going to go over today is essentially try to highlight 5 timeless bottles. Now, what I want people to take away from this list is going to be a little different. For new whiskey drinkers, hey, if you respect my opinion and you've seen the channel and all that, and you're just starting out, and maybe I'm just throwing out all these new brands that you just can't resonate with because I'm overshooting where you are in your whiskey journey, write these 5 down, because what I'm saying is I was into these same 5 10 years ago. I'm still into them now, and opening a new bottle of these still makes me excited, and I always buy new ones, and they're always on my shelf. For you veteran drinkers out there, I want you to look at this list and respond what else you would include based on this criteria. Now, given that it had to be even available, let's say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that negates so many of the brands that I am into this year that are newer brands, new distilleries. Those didn't exist. So we are going to go through a list of more heritage distilleries, which is definitely not like me. But that also shows you why these brands and bottles are standing the test of time. So what we're going to start out first, this one's going to be a low proofer, so 90 proof, and that makes it both inviting to new whiskey drinkers and can make it appealing to veteran whiskey drinkers as well. Now, I know some of these are harder to get your hands on these days, but I am talking about Buffalo Trace store picks. Now, you could do the same with Eagle Rare, though I really like these Buffalo Trace ones. The reason I like the picks is that the age on it can be a little bit more than the overall blend that I think would probably be age dated to 5 years, 6 years. I know there's up to like 8 years in the blend, but that's kind of what's around there. These picks, though, a lot of the times they are 7 years, 8 years old. You can get more oak on them. That's what I really like, is the darker profile I have found on so many picks. Of course, once again, it depends on who's picking it. Now, the price on these is typically $35 to $40. So these do not break the bank. I just know these are harder to get your hands on. But the point being, I still get excited to open up a Buffalo Trace bottle. I didn't have one open on the shelf right now, so I am debating whether to open this one at my next bottle share. Because I said that, this one's actually from 2019. So I got to go through my collection and see what Buffalo Trace single barrels I still have. And if I just start holding on to them, just in case they're like, I guess they're going to reach dusty status if I just get patient with them for a few more years. So I might as well open a more recent one than an older one, but that's a me problem. Next on the list, Kelsey just talked about this in a recent video. He did a comparison of different Woodford Reserve Double Oak, either the store picks versus the regular blend versus the double. I have loved these store picks for quite a while. Now, with these store picks, they're not, from my understanding of the process, they're not necessarily picking like single barrels like you would think. They're picking from different blends and highlighting which blend they want when they get double oaked. But this one here, man, it just brought out so much more vanilla cream than I was used to. I think that's what typically happens on these store picks versus the regular batch. You start getting into some of these outlier flavors or a little bit more different flavors than you're used to. And I have had so much success. I've kept one of these on my shelf for the last, 6 years probably. This is local store by me, Gallenstein #9. I'm pretty sure I've had 1 through 8 on my shelf at some point. Usually each time this particular store has one, I just grab it because I love it. And I've also given these away for quite a few gifts. I think Woodford Double Oak is one of those ones that is timeless. I even get this at bars and restaurants quite a bit because it's just so reliable and the price is sometimes not as extreme. Next on the list is a darling of the channel and so many other channels out there, but I am going to highlight Wild Turkey Rare Breed. This is probably the 20th bottle of Rare Breed I've had in my collection over the years. They have been so consistent, so delicious. It was one of the first whiskeys I even straight out fell in love with back in 2017, 2018. It was when some of the flavors in bourbon finally clicked for me, when I stopped feeling so much of the high proof and all of a sudden this is just rich caramel and oak just came blasting through. And I was like, oh, holy crap. That's what everyone's talking about with the flavor notes. This was the one that made my light bulb in my head turn on. And I am always excited about this. I've even gotten these as gifts at Christmas and holidays. Love it. Give me some Rare Breed. I would totally love having backup Rare Breeds. I drink this all the time. I could also say Russell picks I also get excited over, but this one is on the shelf always. And I think in Ohio right now, it's like $49.99, which is quite a deal, once again, compared to anything else on the shelf for something that is a barrel proof offering that has usually some older whiskeys in it. So once again, a lot of people hype this one up. Take that seriously. If you've not gotten into Wild Turkey Rare Breed, you got to have that on your list. That one's a classic. Next one is actually the one I have in the glass right here. This is one heck of a good pick. But this just goes to show you sometimes how time is just moving on and on. I can't believe how long I've had this bottle in my collection and why there's only 3 ounces of it gone. But I absolutely adore Knob Creek picks. Now, I know we can only get 9 years. Back when I used to buy these in 2016, 2017, 2018, I used to consistently get 12-year, 13-year, 14-year, even 15-year-old Knob Creek store picks. I really hope Knob Creek goes back to that someday. Or maybe they've just learned they can hold back those stocks and put them out in special releases. But man, do I miss some of the variety that I got there just with a few extra years. These 9-year releases, though, are still fantastic. The one I have in my hand is actually called Lob Creek. It's from Matt Porter over there at ADHD Whiskey. Pretty epic sticker on the back, too. A whole lot of familiar faces as we're looking at it. But looking at this one, too, gosh, this has been on my shelf since 2021. Time is flying. I can remember purchasing this thing and adding it to my cart and being real excited for it. But these Knob Creek picks in general, I mean, I can't recall the last time I got a bad one. I don't think I've had a bad one. That's what's weird. It's they're always baseline good to great. And when I'm on vacation, I actually find these at the stores because, once again, the prices on these don't get marked up regardless where you are in the country. So you can find them for $60, $65, and you can find these picks all around the country. If I'm on vacation, I'm going to pick one of those up. It's going to be the best value of what's out there. So cheers, everybody. So Knob Creek, oh man, that one's got so much vanilla on it, and the typical Jim Beam nuttiness isn't there on this one. There's even a chocolate. Gosh, that's a good pick. So moving on to our last bottle here, I'm going to highlight another one that I always get excited to open. Four Roses single barrels. Now, specifically the barrel strengths. I know, once again, these can be harder to find. They range from either $90. I've seen people have them all the way up to $120. I typically don't go over $100, by the way, unless the age really pushes me to go there. But what's exciting about these, especially these picks, is that you get to try all these different recipes. They have all of these different years, sometimes 10 years, 11 years, 12 years old. And yeah, it never really gets old to me opening up a new Four Roses. And I have a few backups, and I love when I kill this one, I'm going to go and open the next one. Now, if this one is, I'm stretching too far, maybe, with the last bottle on this list, given that these are harder to find, especially depending on where you are in the country. The one that I would recommend the most out of the ones that are standard releases on the shelf are the Four Roses Select Small Batch. I absolutely love that bottle. It's like $50 to $60, 104 proofish. Oh man, that's probably my favorite standard Four Roses release. Once again, if you brought that to a bottle share, I would love being able to explore that again. It's probably been a year since I had that one. It's actually been on my mind to buy it a few different times this year. I've just been trying to be good and prioritize my budget elsewhere, which also I'm probably not going to do a review on it for the channel. So it plays into my buying habits of what I do for the channel and, you know, even my own need to keep exploring new things. So regardless, though, you will find these 5 bottles on my shelf at all times. So what I'm curious about for you new whiskey drinkers, A, have you tried these? Have you not tried these? And if you've not tried all these, what is keeping you from trying these? And if you are a veteran whiskey drinker, what other brands would you add to the list based on this criteria? Essentially something that excited you 10 years ago, and it still excites you today to open up a new bottle of it. So thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. If you have any questions or comments, leave them right here. Get to them as soon as I can. Hopefully less glistening because I decided to set this up in 90-degree heat. And I'll catch you on the next Tuesday discussion. Goodbye, everybody.
Just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you